we'll just pretend it never happened. Am I gonna regret this? Wacky Wednesday by Dr. Seuss. Things could get a little messy here. Things could get a little Ronaldo. What's up, guys? My name is Natalie, and welcome to my Nook of Novels. In today's video, I am going to be spinning my wheel and choosing my April TBR. If you guys are new here, I have implemented a few rules for myself in the past few months in terms of the specific books I want to be reading every single month. So I will just kind of go over what those few rules are to start off with, as well as the readathon I'm going to be participating in the month of April. So G from Book Roast every April hosts a readathon called Aurelium, or the Magical Readathon, where essentially she builds this kind of like D&D style world where you're supposed to kind of build a character and walk them through this like university setting, reading a book to fulfill different classes for a certain, they're called callings, or like a certain, I guess, scholarly path, if you will. Now, the way that I play it every single year is I kind of ignore the whole character building thing and all the side quests. I know those are like the fun parts for a lot of people, and you might think I'm crazy for just ignoring those, but for me, I like to just keep it simple and just go with the reading prompts, because if I try to do too much with it, then I just kind of get overwhelmed and it makes it really hard for me to have the motivation to actually read the books and be excited about them. So I kind of just stick to the basic prompts and go from there. So with that being said, I will go over the calling that I chose for myself for this month, as well as the books that I might choose to fulfill all of those prompts. I will say I'm pretty sure you're supposed to pick the same calling every time so that your character can advance through the years and graduate eventually, if I'm not mistaken. However, I always just kind of go with whatever I'm feeling. I usually have the same like 4 or 5 callings that I'm like leaning towards, whether that's the Spellbinder one. Is that what it's called? Not Spellbinder, Tomebinder. There's like a Scribe one, I think. I don't know, there's other book related ones. Obviously, those are the ones that like call out to me. There's a Math Magician one, which I always kind of think about choosing as well. I don't really remember specifically what I've chosen in the last few years, but this year specifically, I chose the Star Whisperer class, and the prompts that I have to fulfill for the Star Whisperer specifically are Art of Illusion, Astronomy, Inscription, Lore, and Psionics and Divination. Now, some of these prompts I am definitely going to have to stretch quite a bit in order to fulfill those, but I will get into the specifics of that. For Art of Illusion, the prompt that I have to fulfill is unusual formatting, and I have a lot of options. This is probably the prompt that I have the widest choice with overall. So there's a couple of different routes I could kind of go with for this prompt, because I feel like formatting can be interpreted in a couple different ways. First and foremost, we have some poetry collections here. We have When You Find Her by Watney, Pillow Thoughts by Courtney Peppernell, Flower Crowns and Fearsome Things by Amanda Lovelace, and Black Sheep by Watney Lander. Watney Lander here is the same as just Watney on this book. These are the same author. But yeah, so poetry collection I feel like is a unique formatting, because I mean, this one first of all has a bunch of pictures in it, but then also the format of poems are not just like a full page of text, which I would say is like the normal average formatting for most books. On a similar note, I have a couple graphic novels that I could go with. So we have the Kingstone Bible Volume 2, which is the 10 Commandments, Moses to Samuel, because this is a graphic novel version of the Bible. And then obviously graphic novels are a different format than just, you know, regular books. Same with The Chainsaw Man Volume 7 by Tatsuki Fujimoto. This is one that I would read to my boyfriend. Same thing with the formatting. Now, I also thought when I think of format, I kind of think of how the book is physically printed, if that makes sense. So I have a couple that are just kind of an odd size, and these are, I guess I just realized these are both Book of the Month books, which if you guys don't know are like kind of larger hardbacks typically. So we have Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng, which is just like a very tall and like large book, which I feel like is not extremely usual for formatting, as well as 5-Star Stranger by Kat Tang. And then on the opposite note, we have The Mission by Jason Myers, which is formatted in a very small way. It's very small and square, which makes this one unusual in terms of its formatting. And then our last two options that we have here are just unusual formatted in the sense that they are extremely short. So we have Jackson's Pursuit by Tamron Banks, and then we have Devil's Bell's Valentine by E.C. Land. Those are all of my options for things that I might pick for unusual formatting. I wouldn't say that I'm really leaning towards any of these more than the others. It might be easier just to pick a poetry collection because I'll read those a lot faster, but I really have no particular preference in terms of any of these. I would be fine pretty much if any of those come up. Next up for astronomy, I just have to read a book from my top shelf. So anything, I think you guys probably can't see from here, but the very top shelf up here is pink and red books. And then on this pink shelf, I have 4 books that are on my TBR. Red Rising, which is not really a contender for me because I'm planning to read that to my boyfriend once we finish the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, so I'm kind of saving that one for right now. We also have Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard, which is a contender. Ship of Spells by H. Leighton Dixon. And then City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare, which obviously I'm not to that book in the series yet. And then everything over here on the red shelf. I guess I can go through those options. I kind of don't feel like it. We'll get to that one when we get there. The next one, I'm definitely going to have to stretch quite a bit. So this one is Inscription. And for this prompt, a day of the week is supposed to be in the title. Now, this does not apply to any of the books that I have. And the only possible way that I could really make this work is if I read a Magic Treehouse book, which I just really don't want to do. I don't feel like doing that. And I don't want to force myself to read something I don't want to read just for the sake of fulfilling this prompt when it's not even on my physical TBR. So I kind of stretched this one a little bit. And I am choosing any book that has the word end in it because it's a day of the week. And I feel like weekend kind of counts as a part of the week. You know what I mean? And so these obviously don't say weekend in the title, but they do say end. So I feel like that's close enough for me to count that. That's the closest I could get anyway. And I wasn't counting words where the word end is within the word. It had to physically be like the actual word. Except for this one, Ender's Game by Orson Scott Card. I feel like that was close enough. I'm more thinking of like when I searched end on my Goodreads, like Legends and Lattes came up because end is within the word legends. And I feel like that's too much of a stretch. But Ender's Game, I was like, okay, we can count that one. So this is one of my options. We also have just The End by Charlie Higson, the last book in the Enemy series. This is Not the End by Chandler Baker, and The First to Die at the End by Adam Silvera. We also have the prompt lore, which is to read a dystopia or a utopia book. And so for this one, I 100% am going to be going with Fracture Me by Tahara Mafi. This is the next novella in the Shatter Me series, and I just figured that this would be the easiest one to go with because it's next up in one of my highest priority series that I'm trying to read right now. It's really short, obviously, because it's a novella, and I just thought that that would be the best option for this. There's a couple other things I could go with. I could read The End. I could read The First to Die at the End because those both are technically dystopian books. Actually, I'm also reading Dungeon Crawler Carl to my boyfriend, which is also dystopian, so that could count. I could also read Ready Player One randomly if I wanted to do that, which I do want to read soon, but for right now, I'm just going to go with Fracture Me because that's just going to be the easiest. Unless something else just randomly comes up that I'm not planning on that's a dystopia, then I guess that's covered, but I don't anticipate that happening. So Fracture Me is going to be my choice for this one. And lastly, we have Psionics and Divination. And for this one, I'm supposed to read a book with the word time in the title. This is another one that I just did not have any options for. I feel like books where there has to be specific things in the title are a lot of the time the hardest prompts just because you have to have a very specific TBR for these. And I feel like they can also be really hard for people with a really small TBR or people who only read a certain genre for the most part, because I feel like certain words are more conducive to certain genres. Like I feel like time is something you'd more think of a fantasy or a sci-fi, you know, and not just like a contemporary romance or like a thriller or something like that. Maybe a thriller, but maybe not like a mystery. But I don't fit into either of those categories. I have a massive physical TBR and I read every genre known to man, and somehow I still did not have a book to fit this prompt or the other one. So the closest I could get for this one is Repeat After Me by Jessica Warman, because there's a clock on the cover of this one and there's also a clock on the spine. And so I figured it had something to do with time, if nothing else. And so it is related to the prompt because of that. It's close enough. And this one is actually one that I've been really excited for. The writing style of like the description of the book itself seemed really like quirky and fun. I don't remember exactly what it's about, but I remember like when I read the description of this book, I was immediately hooked. It was super cheap at McKay's and it has like sprayed edges and everything. It's really pretty underneath and everything. And I don't know, this just seems like a super cool book that I'm really excited for. So excited to be planning to read it in the month of April. Like I mentioned, I also have my 3 3 prompts that I kind of try to choose something for every single month. So the first prompt is a popular book that is trending in the moment. I am going to check really fast to make sure that I have the official book that won the poll that I put up on my Instagram stories, because I let you guys choose the book that is going to be the popular book that I read in April. Now, the 4 options that I gave you guys were Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter by Heather Fawcett, I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman, The Will of the Many by James Islington, and Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. I'm just gonna look one more time really fast and count up the votes that each book got on my poll. And we have a clear winner, which is the choice I was most excited about out of all of these, and it is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This one got, well, it's a little confusing. So my boyfriend voted on both of my Instagram accounts, but he voted a different book for each of them. So normally when people vote on both, I don't count their vote twice. I just count it once. But because he voted for different books, I feel like I should count them both, because then at that point, like, they're different. You know what I mean? So anyway, if I'm including both of those, then Agnes Aubert's Mystical Cat Shelter got 3 votes. I Who Have Never Known Men got 6 votes. The Will of the Many got 2, and Quicksilver got 5. This one was definitely the most interesting poll I think I've ever done, because a lot of the time it's a very clear winner throughout. And this one, it was kind of mostly clear, but each one I feel like got a good number of votes, and each one kind of had a shot of winning, except for The Will of the Many. That one kind of didn't have a chance the whole time, but all the others were pretty solid contenders, I feel like. But yeah, so I Who Have Never Known Men is what I'm going to be reading in April for my popular book, and I could not be more excited, honestly. I'm pretty sure this is like a little bit of a shorter book, and if I remember correctly, it's about this group of women who essentially, they're all put in this cage, and that's just like where they live, is just inside of this cage. And our main character is born there, so she has never known life outside of this cage of women. And yeah, she's never like seen or interacted with a man before, and like all that she knows in her life is women. I just think it's so interesting. It sounds so good. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Dante's Cave thing, where like if you don't know the outside world, you know, does that alter your perspective of the place you live in? You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it reminds me of that. And I'm just really excited for that. I feel like it's going to be kind of philosophical. It's going to make me think and ponder. And I feel like it's going to be a really pretty one. Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. So that is the first book. That is a solid thing I will for sure be reading. Well, I guess also Repeat After Me and Fracture Me. But yeah, anyway, I digress. I forgot to talk about the other 2 general prompts that I try to fulfill each month. So the second one is just a productive book of some kind. So this can be a sequel, a book I'm borrowing, or just any other productive kind of book. So Fracture Me fulfills that perfectly. It is a sequel. If I ended up reading The End or The First to Die at the End, those would also be series continuations, as well as Chainsaw Man Volume 7, Kingstone Bible Volume 2. I mean, I'm also going to be reading Dungeon Crawler Carl, but I don't really count that like towards my TBR. That's just something that I've been reading pretty consistently for the past at least 6 months or so. Wow, we've been reading that for a while. It's so good though. It's amazing. And then the third prompt, to read a book that's kind of like randomly selected by my wheel, something that I probably wouldn't have picked up otherwise, just something that's maybe outside my comfort zone, doesn't necessarily have to be, could be something I've had for a while and just didn't really have necessarily like active intentions of picking up anytime soon, if that makes sense. Just kind of something that the wheel made me choose that I might not necessarily have chosen otherwise. So those are the 3 main prompts I'm trying to go with. Also, at the end of this video, I want to do a little bit of a, not bookshelf reorganization, because that's a really big word for what I'm going to be doing, but I kind of want to implement this at the end of all my TBR videos, because I think it will be a fun little additional thing to add. It's just kind of resorting my TBR shelf a little bit, because every time I take books off of this TBR shelf to put on my monthly TBR, because I put those in a different spot, then obviously it leaves blank spots in this shelf. And then there's other books that are on my physical TBR that I've had kind of kept to the side, either because they ended up on my monthly TBR and then they never found a spot back on these main rainbow TBR shelves, or because I bought them and just never put them on on here. I do have a pile of those just to the side. And so I figured we could like resolve that at the end of each of these videos, give you guys a little bit of like reorganization kind of content and rehome them so they're not just sitting off lonely every single month because I just was too lazy to put them where they should actually go. So I thought that would be fun. Also, real quick, I kind of want to touch on my March TBR, which it's only the middle of March now when I'm filming this, and I've already completed it, quote unquote, sort of. So I read Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. I read the rest of Unravel Me by Tahara Mafi. I'm not worrying about the library at Halbor right now just because it doesn't matter. I completed a book for the poll prompt and I feel happy with that. I read the Kingstone Bible Volume 1 and I have started the Raven Scholar, which I'm really loving. I'm about 100 pages into that, which obviously isn't far enough really to say that I've like completed it for the month, but I have started it and I feel like that's like my goal every single month. I will definitely be plowing through that one as fast as I possibly can. It's really good so far and I'm very excited to see where the rest of it goes. That being said, I guess we're gonna go ahead and jump to the wheel. I'm gonna spin it 4 times in the month of April, but obviously I'm probably gonna end up having more than 4 books on this TBR because of Aurelium and the Magical Readathon. And first of all, the fact that there's 5 prompts for that. And secondly, because I don't necessarily think that the wheel spins are going to line up perfectly with the things that I need to choose for that, if that makes sense. I'm crossing my fingers and hoping that it doesn't completely misalign and make me read 9 books in the month of April because that would just be upsetting. But here is hoping. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump over to the wheel and start spinning. So last month I forgot to switch out my final prompt, which was poll. So we're gonna go ahead and switch that one out right now. We're gonna switch it out for this prompt, which is random backwards throw. I should probably get rid of this one. This is kind of a complicated one to do within a TBR video, but it is kind of fun. So we're gonna put it on here for now. But essentially for this one, I will crumple up a piece of paper or something, or maybe I'll just grab a knickknack off my shelf. I'll grab something and I'll lay out books on the floor and I will throw the object behind me, and whichever book it lands on is essentially the one I'm going to be reading. So this one, it kind of gives me some choice, but not a ton, depending on what books I lay out. As per usual, if I land on the same space twice in a row, I will have to add a spin, and we have add 2 books on here as well. So things could get a little messy here. Things could get a little Ronaldo, but without further ado, let's go ahead and start with spin number 1. Okay, starting off easy, a book with short chapters. So I'm gonna start by checking with Repeat After Me by Jessica Warman to see how long these chapters are. Based on the writing style, I have a feeling they're gonna be pretty short, but we're just gonna have to look and see. So this book has 373 pages and, oh, it doesn't have chapter numbers. That's unfortunate. Okay, so I'm just gonna turn to the middle of this book and I'm gonna look through 5 chapters and we're gonna average out the number of pages in each of those chapters. So this first one is 1 page long, 3 pages, 2 pages, 1 page, and 5 pages. Those are definitely short. I'm gonna turn to a different part of the book and kind of see from there because I don't want to get just like a really fast-paced part and kind of misjudge. So we have 5 pages, 9 pages, 8 pages, 7 pages, and 9 pages. Okay, so whenever I am considering what is a long chapter, it is something with 10 pages or more. And considering every single chapter we looked at in here was less than 10 pages, I feel like I can say with confidence that this book has short chapters. So this is so exciting. Okay, Repeat After Me is going on my April TBR. This is one that I have been really excited for, but I kind of just generally didn't think I was going to get a chance to read it anytime soon. But now that I can, I honestly couldn't be happier. I think this is going to be so much fun and I'm really excited for it. So Repeat After Me is going on my April TBR. We're going to switch out the short chapters prompt for someone else's prompt. So if this comes up, then I am going to open up some kind of TBR video. It can be from this month, it can be a really old video, just literally any TBR video, a TBR game specifically. It can be a TBR jar, Duck is Bookopoly, literally anything. I'm going to go to like a random point in the video and whatever their next prompt is that they come up with, then I'm going to be using that prompt to choose the book I read. Spin number 2. Okay. Lowest alphabetical. Oh, author. Oh my goodness. This is really good news. Okay. So lowest alphabetical means title. Okay. And I already know that the lowest alphabetical book on my Goodreads is Wrath by John Gwynne, the fourth and final book in the Faithful and the Fallen series. Now, if that comes up in this TBR, I'm simply not reading that this month because I just finished Ruin in, I guess it was December, but I need a break. I know it's been a few months now, but I'm just not mentally prepared just yet. I think I need to wait until the first month of summer to finish that series up because it's so much. And I do really enjoy it, but it's just a lot to get back into, especially in like a readathon month, in a month where I'm gonna have a bunch of homework. It's just not what I need for April. So with that being said, I'm just gonna go ahead and say that I'm gonna go with whatever the next one is in the list if that prompt is to come up. Now, this one is lowest alphabetical author, and I kind of have a feeling with this one that it's going to be one of my It Girl books. I have Devious and Infamous, which are both It Girl books by Cecily von Zygesar, however you say that, which starts with a Z. And I'm pretty sure there's not any other Z named books that I own, but we'll see. So I'm going to my want to read, and I'll put a screenshot of this on the screen right here, but I'm sorting by author. And I'm putting it in reverse. And yeah, okay, so the first book on here is Infamous by Cecily von Zygesar. Now, this is definitely not one that I would have just decided to pick up on a whim for no reason. So this definitely fulfills that prompt. Ooh, wait just a minute. Okay, I've just noticed something. Okay, wait, maybe not. Maybe never mind. I don't know if this counts. As I've already been over, one of my magical readathon prompts is to read a book with unusual formatting. And there are parts of this book that have these little owlnet messages, but it's not like absurdly often. I've seen like maybe 7 of them so far, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I just saw the word marijuana while I was flipping through. That was kind of random. 16, 17, 18. Does 18 of them count for this to be an unusually formatted book? I feel like if it's just an additional thing, I don't know if that counts as like the formatting of the overall book. Does that count? I don't know. I think if we get to the end of the TBR, and this is the only book of unusual formatting that I could get on here, then maybe we say it counts. I'll decide at the end because I really don't know. I feel like that one is really iffy, and there's already obviously other things that I have to stretch quite a bit. We're just gonna wait and see. We're gonna see what the vibes are for the rest of this TBR. But yeah, this one is definitely also going to fulfill my like monthly challenge prompt of reading a book that I would not have otherwise chosen, because there's just no way I would have decided like, yeah, let me randomly read Infamous. But I am very excited. I read one of the Gossip Girl books because I was gifted all of these by my aunt one Christmas, like literally 7 years ago or something, and I haven't read them yet. But Gossip Girl was really fun. It was like book 7 or 11 or something random in the series, but I had fun with that one, and I think I'm gonna have fun with this as well. They have like fun writing styles and the characters. I like how they read like a sitcom, kind of like Magnolia Parks, I guess. I feel like it's kind of in the same vein as that. And yeah, I'm excited for this. I'm kind of glad that this one came up. Let's go ahead and switch out this prompt for this one, which is boyfriend pics. He's asleep. It might be a little unfortunate if this one comes up right now, but it'll be fine. Spin number 3. Okay, so this one looks like it is just barely on most recently acquired, which this one's kind of exciting. So technically the most recent thing that I acquired, I haven't actually acquired it yet, I haven't received it yet, but I ordered from Marketplace. This lady was selling a bunch of special editions and delivering them, and I bought a special edition of The Raven Scholar, which I'm really excited about. Like I said, I'm reading The Raven Scholar right now and loving it, and I was wanting the special edition anyway when I went to buy it, but I hadn't realized it's like I don't remember exactly where it's from. It's Fairy Loot or Illumicrate or something like that. One that obviously, like if you go down to Barnes & Noble to buy the book, you're not going to be able to get the special edition. So I ordered that and it's coming in soon. But again, I'm already reading The Raven Scholar, so there's no point in putting it on my April TBR. So the next recent thing that I acquired before that was North is the Night by Emily Rath. And I don't know anything about this book, but I really liked the vibes of it. I like the kind of folkloric look of it. It looks folkloric, you know what I mean? It's very wintry and it just looks so cute. Like, look at these gorgeous sprayed edges. I love the art style of the cover. It has beautiful end papers. It has beautiful underneath. It has a reversible cover. Literally, this book has everything. I am so excited for it. I think I looked what it was about, but I was like, I don't really care. I just really want it for the vibes, and I have somewhat of a good feeling about this. So this could be really, really good. Yeah, so this is also going on the TBR. However, this is yet another book that does not fulfill any of my prompts. It is not unusually formatted, I don't believe. It does not have the word end in the title or the word time. It was not living on my top shelf, and it is not a dystopia as far as I know. So that's unfortunate news, but it's one that I'm excited to read, so that's okay. Hey guys, so it's actually the next day, and oh my gosh, the cat's trying to attack me. Hey, those are my legs. Please don't eat them. Thank you. So my only means of self-defense is playing with this feather toy, so the cat is distracted while I film this clip. But guys, she does not want to leave the room. She does not want to leave me alone. She just wants to attack whatever she sees. As you guys just saw in the last clip, I spun Most Recently Acquired on the wheel, and the book that came up for that prompt was North is the Night by Emily Rath, because that was the most recent book that I had acquired at the time of spinning this wheel. Now, it is the next day, and because my popular book for the month was I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman, I went to the store and I bought this today. So now this is my most recently acquired book. And now, yes, this is probably considered cheating somewhat, because when I spun the wheel, I had not acquired it yet, but I was intending to acquire it soon, obviously, because it was the popular book I'm reading for the month of April. So as of right now, it is my most recently acquired book. I am going to take advantage of this little moment, because typically I feel like it shouldn't necessarily count, but I think there's a lot of books on my TBR this month, and I think that if I'm going to have any chance of trying to actually get through all of them, then this is going to be the best way to do it and to make sure that I have a reasonable number of things on my TBR. Now, if I just happen to want to read North is the Night throughout the month, or if I end up having time to read an extra book, I'll have that as like a bonus book on my TBR that I will try to get to if the opportunity arises. But for right now, just to give myself a little bit more leeway and kind of at least have a hope or prayer of getting through my TBR, I'm just going to say that I Who Have Never Known Men fulfills the most recently acquired prompt. I'm going to try not to do that again in the future at any point, because again, it's kind of against the point of the prompt, but just for the sake of this TBR and my sanity, we're doing that for right now. Let's go ahead and switch out the prompt for color in title. So if this one comes up, I'll have to read a book with a color in the title. I did not need to explain that to you guys, but I honestly don't know what I would choose. I don't know if I really have anything crazy that would fit this prompt, but let me go have a peek and see if I even have anything that would fit this prompt. And if not, then I might just trash it for now. Also, I forgot to mention that I'm also going to be reading Half His Age by Jeanette McCurdy in the month of April. I'm going to listen to that one on audio. I'm so excited for that book to come out. If I wasn't already planning on listening to it on audio, I would have also included it on my poll for popular books to read this month, but I'm gonna read it anyway. No one can stop me. So yeah, I'm gonna read that book as well. Ooh, I guess I could kind of stretch color in terms of shade, you know what I mean? Because I don't own My Dark Vanessa, but that is a book that I really want to read that I just remembered about. I'm gonna see what else I can come up with. Okay, yeah, we definitely have things that would fit for this. Now that I've had a look, there's like Butcher and Blackbird. If I'm going with shades as possibly colors, there's like All the Bright Places. We could go with The Poppy War, Will Grayson, Will Grayson if we're really stretching it. There's also The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black, which I feel like I could also maybe do. So there's definitely a number of ways that I can use this prompt somehow to put something in my TBR. Oh. Okay. Oh, and I guess we're on spin number 4 out of 4 already. Okay, this came up really quick, guys. How are we almost done already? I don't like that. Spin number 4 out of 4, I guess. I kind of hope we land on something that makes us spin again. I don't want to say that and then have to spin like 4 more times. I digress. Spin number 4. Okay, so we got question mark, which means that I'm going to pick a prompt out of this stack, and that prompt is the prompt I have to go with. It's gonna be this one. Tell me what it is. Is it something good? It better be. Obscure book. Okay, that's a pretty easy one. So a book that is not really very talked about on social media, on Book Talk, Bookstagram, BookTube, anything like that. I know what I'm gonna pick for this one. I feel like the best book that can fit this prompt is When You Find Her by Watney. This is obscure. It's not even on Goodreads. I tried to find it so that I could add it to my TBR, and it's like not even listed there. The other book by this author is there, but this one is not, unfortunately, which is going to be annoying for like tracking my books for the year, but it's okay. Yeah, I've literally never heard anyone talk about this book. When You Find Her by Watney is going on my TBR. Guys, should I spin again? This is going to be the one for the unusual formatting prompt. That leaves me with 3 more magical readathon prompts that I need fulfilled. And I kind of want to spin again and see if I get a prompt that will help me to choose another book for that. Dare I? Should I do it? For the day in the week prompt, I want to see if I can look up if there's any books that I would like to listen to on audio that would fit that prompt better than the physical books that I own. Wacky Wednesday by Dr. Seuss. I just don't think there's anything here that really interests me at all. There's not anything that I think like, ooh, wait, I would want to read that. It's just kind of random stuff that I don't really think I'm interested in. With that being said, I think I'm gonna spin the wheel one more time. Am I gonna regret this? Maybe I shouldn't. Okay, hear me out. I'm gonna spin again, and if it gives me something that will fit one of my prompts, then I'll keep it. And if not, we'll just pretend it never happened. Deal? Deal. Okay, we're gonna switch out the question mark prompt for animal on the cover. That one could be interesting. That one could maybe work for something. Spin number 5, the bonus spin. A shiny book. I can work with this one. So of my books that have the word end in them, these 2 are both pretty shiny. Ender's Game and This Is Not the End. Both of them have like a glossy kind of cover. And out of these 2, let me see which one seems quicker. I think I'm gonna go with This Is Not the End by Chandler Baker, because I've wanted to read this book for so long and I've been really excited about it. I know a lot of people really do like Ender's Game a lot, but this one has just really piqued my interest for a long time. It's about people in this society get one person that they're allowed to revive. So one person who's killed, you get to bring them back to life. And this girl gets in a car accident with her best friend and her boyfriend, and both of them end up dying. And she has to choose which one to save, which sounds so emotional, such a dilemma, obviously, so philosophical. I'm excited for this. I've really wanted to read this for years now, like I said, and I'm excited to finally have a reason to. So This Is Not the End is going on my April TBR. What a time to be alive, guys. This is a pretty good list. I'm actually really excited about this, I think. I'm not sure if the stack is slightly ambitious. Ignite Me on here is like a placeholder for Fracture Me, which is not very long at all. So I'm just gonna take that one off. But this is our stack. I mean, it is gonna be a very homework heavy month for sure, because I'm in school throughout the entirety of April, and I'm taking extra credits this session than I would normally take, so I might be a little bit busier than usual, but I feel like these are all things that are gonna be quicker reads as far as the pacing of them and whatnot, so I'm really excited. Okay, let's go back over what I chose for each prompt. We'll start with the magical readathon. So for a book with unusual formatting, I'm going with When You Find Her by Watney. Oh my gosh, wait, I totally forgot about the book from the top shelf prompt. Holy cow. Well, that's unfortunate. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna grab the shortest book on here. What do I think is gonna be the quickest? I think I have too many options, guys. From my top shelf, I think the quickest book on there is going to be Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. This is a young adult gay romance. I feel like everyone's heard of this book by now, but essentially this boy gets like blackmailed and someone tells him that he's going to out him with this like email that he sent if he doesn't do certain things. I don't remember what it was. This is one that was popular a really long time ago and I never got around to it. It's one that I'm excited to read. Now, if we add this to the stacks, holy cow. For the prompt of a book from the top shelf, we have Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. For the prompt of a day of the week in the title, meaning the word end because weekend, we have This Is Not the End by Chandler Baker. That felt like kind of a tongue twister. For the word time in the title, by which I just mean having a clock on the cover, we have Repeat After Me by Jessica Warman. For a dystopian or a utopia, we have, not this book obviously, but Fracture Me by Tahara Mafi, the 2.5th book in the Shatter Me series. Yeah, so then those are all my magical readathon prompts, but based on what we spun on the wheel, okay, I don't know where all my prompts went. For short chapters, we have Repeat After Me. For lowest alphabetical author, we have Infamous by Cecily von Zygasar. For most recently acquired, we have North is the Night by Emily Rath. For obscure book, we have When You Find Her by Watney. For question mark, which turned out to be, that one was obscure book, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, and then for shiny book, we chose This Is Not the End by Chandler Baker. And then for my personal prompts, so many of these could fit for the book I wouldn't necessarily have read, but I would say Infamous fits it the most. Fracture Me fits for the sequel prompt, and then the popular book is going to be I Who Have Never Known Men. So, gosh, this is quite the stack. Again, if I finish The Raven Scholar by some miracle before the end of March, then I can start on these beforehand. And who knows, maybe I'll end up having more time than I expect in April. Maybe. In terms of what I expect to prioritize the most, I would say that these three and I Who Have Never Known Men are probably going to be my top priorities. These two just because they're short and it's going to be really easy to like get through them as quick as possible. I Who Have Never Known Men, obviously I'm very, very excited for. And this one takes my interest quite a lot and I feel like I'm going to fly through it as well. And I think these last four are just going to be kind of a wild card, more of whatever I'm feeling in the moment, whatever I feel like I can get through in a quick manner. Real quickly also, I'm going to switch out the shiny book prompt because I forgot to switch that out a minute ago while I was at the wheel. So we are going to switch it for scroll on Goodreads. So for this prompt, I'm going to scroll until I find a book that is on my physical TBR in terms of like the feed section where people are updating like on what they're currently reading or adding to their lists and things. Also next month, I'm going to put the prompts that have been taken out of the stacks back in so that I can start cycling back through those again in the next few months in case those end up coming up on the wheel. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to the clip of me kind of reorganizing my shelves a little bit now that I have pulled some things off of the shelves, and I'm gonna go ahead and put things back on. Okay, I'm not exactly sure how excellent this angle is gonna be, but we're just gonna try this out and see how it goes. In terms of putting things back on my shelf, we have all these books that I got off of the shelves to talk about in this video, as well as these random books that ended up off of the rainbow shelves for whatever reason. We have The Last Triumvirate by Karen C.P. McDermott. We have Alice's Adventures in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass by Lewis Carroll. Kalia's Hero by L. James. Jesse Monroe and Company by Archer Atwood. And then The Library at Hellbore by Cassandra Koss. So I'm going to start with the ones that I just now pulled off for this video and then go from there.
Say it louder, say it louder.
We have this gap at the very top where I pulled off Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shift everything by one because none of the books left that I have to shelve right here are anything that would go essentially anywhere near the top. Blue is like the next color that I have. So that one just barely fits. Also, this might be really crooked, but that's okay.
Feel the moment, feel the power. Bring the animal back.
Okay, so now we're at the part where we need to start adding books back in. So we're gonna add The Last Triumvirate and Kalia's Hero right here because these ones have bluish spines. Actually, I think I'm gonna add these a little bit further down.
Back to life. Bring the energy energy.
Yeah, I think that's a solid spot for this to go. Okay, I feel like we did good there. I'm gonna move Neon Gods back over onto here because I feel like it looks better right here.
One more time. Oh, if you feel like letting go, you can.
I moved over Neon Gods and I added the Library at Hellbore, Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I added all of those onto this next shelf down, and then that pretty much filled in all the space. So then down here, I've added Jessie Monroe and Company, and then I'm putting these two final books down here in the last of the space. And then we're pretty much set. There's still kind of some space over here, but that's okay. I'm more prioritizing filling in the rainbow shelf, and then this is just kind of for extras to spill over. And then in terms of like this shelf right now, I don't really mess too much with this top shelf because this is pretty much my shelf where I keep my favorite books of all time. So unless I just read a book that I adore, I'm not really too worried about changing anything on here. This next shelf down, I'm kind of trying to shift it into books that I really like. So these first four are books that I've read and enjoyed, and then everything else is kind of priority TBR books. It doesn't necessarily look extremely great right now, but as I plow through more of those, I'm hoping to kind of transform this into more of a red shelf so that I can kind of get rid of all of these TBR books. And then down here, there's not really much rhyme or reason. These are just other books that I've read. And then these boxes are just real lives that I want to build. And then this is a decoration I thought about maybe hanging up in my closet that I haven't done anything with yet. So those are just kind of there. Oh my gosh, you're so crooked, guys. Why did nobody tell me? Goodness gracious. Yeah, I feel like we're in a good spot with where I've put things on my shelves now, and I'm really happy with it. So back to me wrapping up my April TBR. So yeah, that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, then please hit the like button and subscribe if you would like to, and hit the notification bell if you would like to see the other videos that I post roughly once a month, my TBR videos, but also any additional videos that I end up posting throughout the rest of the month, usually on Thursdays. Please let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in any of these books that I mentioned in this video, if you've read them, if you liked them, what you're planning on reading in the month of April. In addition to these books, I'm also going to be making more progress in the Dungeon Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Dinniman and Paper Towns by John Green, because I'm reading both of those to my boyfriend as well. I've also been listening to Magnolia Park's Into the Dark by Jessa Hastings, which I'll probably finish before the end of March. And then obviously, like I said, I'm going to read Half His Age in April as well. And if I feel like it, that might also inspire me to re-listen to I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy as well, which is one of my favorite books. I love it so much. I really need to acquire a couple copies of those books very soon. And then also Just Friends by Haley Pham is one that I want to listen to because I'm curious. Again, thank you guys so much for being here and for watching this video. My Bookstagram, my Goodreads, and my book talk will all be linked in the description of this video if you guys would like to check out any of those. And I will have the poll on my Bookstagram for next month's popular book for you guys to vote on and decide. Again, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!